The frustration of dealing with living creatures like honeybees is that sometimes they don't behave or react in ways that we would expect. And that's a situation I've been dealing with this swarm of honeybees that I'm actually in the process of trying to catch. For all intents and purposes, it looks like they are caught in this swarm trap, or at least they've moved into this swarm trap, but that's not entirely the case. We are currently in early August, which is late for our swarm season. Just the other day I noticed this swarm, which is a very small softball-sized swarm, in my apple tree while I was mowing the lawn. Because they're a very small swarm, I got a fairly small box. In fact, this 5-frame Layens nuke box is probably a little big for the size of this swarm. I thought those bees hanging on that tree would be an easy catch. Sweep them into the box, make sure I get the queen in there, and job done. And the job just has not been that easy. I put the bees into the box and got them moving in there, and they just kept going back to the tree. So I put a little swarm commander on the box to try to attract them to the box, and that worked. And I had the box set up where the bees were moving into it, and then just about when the whole swarm was moved in, all of a sudden they swarmed out of the box and went right back to the tree. Well, actually, correction, they went to my peach tree, which is just behind me here. And in that process of trying to get them to move into the box, I'd actually caught the queen and tried to release her into the box, but she flew off. And then I saw her go with the swarm. I saw her go into the box, and then I saw her come out of the box. And after several iterations of that process, trying to get them to go into the box, I finally just set the box here in between my fruit trees and thought I would just let the bees find their home. So I set the box here and just left it for the bees to move into if they choose to. And I would watch the swarm, and it's kind of fascinating, made me think a lot of things I've learned from reading Dr. Tom Seeley's books. In that, as I would watch the swarm, I could see bees on the outside of the swarm doing their little waggle dances, which really was just a circle dance because the box is so close to where the swarm was. And so I could see that they seemed to be signaling to the other bees that our new home is real close here. And so I waited, and I saw them doing that late in the afternoon, and then they hadn't done anything by the end of the day. So I came out the next day just in time to watch the bees start swarming off the tree and into the box. Great, job done. And I actually got some video of the bees moving in. I posted a little joke on Instagram about a swarm in August, but then when the whole swarm was just about moved into the box, they swarmed out of the box and went right back to that peach tree. So they just have not been able to get settled into this box. So I've had to take some additional measures, and that's why I say that they are still in the process of getting caught. I shook the bees back into the box. Step by step, I would shake them off the tree into the lid of the box and then dump them inside. I did catch the queen, put her in a queen clip, and I put that queen clip inside the box. And that's the state right now, is that the queen is in there in a queen clip. Now, to help anchor the bees to the box, I pulled a frame of brood in all stages from another hive and put in there. And very often, having that brood, the bees will get busy tending to that brood, and that'll help them to stay in that box. One other thing that brood will do is actually help to protect the queen, because if the bees sense that the queen is there, but they also that she is not laying, they may interpret that she is a defective queen. And so when I release her, even though she might start laying again, the bees might go ahead and start a process of superseding her to replace her with the idea that she is somehow defective. So by having that brood, the bees aren't going to have that sense, I hope, that the queen is defective, because they know the queen is there, they know that brood is there, and so they shouldn't have that response to try to replace the queen. Now, if you do any swarm trapping, one thing that I recommend when people set out their swarm traps, which is actually best done earlier in the year, is that you never put food in your swarm trap. Never put honey or pollen in there. Having honey in the swarm trap is just going to invite robber bees. It doesn't attract bees that are looking for a new home. At the same time, having pollen in there can be an attractant for small hive beetles, and they can go in and overtake the hive even before a colony moves in. So you don't normally put honey and pollen in when you're trying to attract a swarm, but in this case I had the swarm, I wanted them to stay, and being a late season swarm, they're going to need resources to survive. So I went ahead and added a full frame of honey in here, and this late in the year I will probably be giving them more to get them ready for winter. So that's the state of this colony, and I share all that because if you are trying to catch your own swarms, you're going to run into situations where the bees just don't react in the ways that you expect them to. And so I want to let you know what I've been doing so that you might be able to take those ideas and apply them in your case. And now that the bees have been in this box for a day or so and hopefully are fairly established to the box, I'm going to go ahead and release the queen, and hopefully this colony will stay put. Now as I pull this queen out in her queen clip, I'm going to be moving pretty quickly here. Number one, because these bees have been so flighty about staying in this box, I don't want to leave it open any more than necessary, and I don't want to disturb the bees any more than necessary. So I'm just going to basically pull her out of there and then close it right back up. I will mention as I get ready to open this, I have my frame of honey right here, I have the frame of brood is right here, I have a partly built out frame here, and then these two frames just have a little bit of comb at the top of the frame as a starter strip. And I have the queen clip laying on the bottom of these two frames together. So I'm going to pull them out to get that queen clip out, and then we'll just put them right back in. I'm also going to move quickly because it's starting to rain a little bit. And based on this cloud, I don't think it's going to be any sort of a lasting rain or anything serious, but we won't leave the bees any more exposed than necessary. So we'll lift this out. I'm guessing my queen is still in that clip because it's got bees all over it. And then put these right back in. As far as releasing this queen, you probably won't see her because you got a lot of bees around there, but I'm not going to try to release her onto the frame or on the top of the hive. In a lot of cases you can do that with the queen and she might crawl down inside, but because this queen has been flighty and has flown away from me when I've tried to release her before, I'm going to be releasing her directly into the entrance and just giving enough of a gap for her just to go inside. So we'll give that a try. Now the tricky thing here is I release this queen. I guess I'll shake some of these bees off so I can actually maybe see the queen inside of there and see when she goes in. But by holding this up against the entrance like this, I can open it up and the only place she has to go is inside of that entrance. I think she may have gone in. We'll got so many bees inside of there, it's hard to tell. So I may have to open my box and just shake these out. But I'm pretty sure I saw her go inside. Because the queen's pheromone is on that clip, those bees aren't going to be quick to clear out of there. They're going to want to hang around where they smell their queen. But I certainly do not see her in there. Yeah, looking at the bees in there, I definitely don't see the queen in there. So I believe we got a good release into the hive, and now it's just a matter of waiting to make sure the bees stay put. Now this entrance disc does have a queen excluder setting, and in a case like this I might turn it to that queen excluder so that only the worker bees can get in and out and the queen cannot get out. But I'm not doing that because I actually tried that approach, and this queen, because she is slimmed down and ready for flight, even though this queen clip held her, the queen excluder setting on that entrance disc did not. I actually saw her crawl out through that setting. So I'm not going to bother with that. But I've got her released in there. They have that brood that I mentioned, and they have some food in there. So I'm hoping that they will now establish this as home. They certainly, in just the day that this was sitting inside of that hive, they certainly built up quite a bit of wax and propolis on the outside of that clip. Got our bees there that are fanning. They are spreading the nascent pheromone to signal that this is where the queen is, so they're signaling to these other bees that are circling around here to go ahead and come to the hive. So even if nothing else was routine about this swarm catch, at least that queen release went pretty well. And I'm hoping, like I said, that the bees are well enough established in there that they're not going to be prone to swarm out of there again. I wish I had gotten video of this process from the start so I could kind of show you the gyrations that I've gone through trying to get the bees to set up home inside of this box. But you don't know that it's not going to go according to plan until it doesn't. In any case, I hope that some of the things I've mentioned are helpful to you if you have any difficulties trying to get bees to move into a box. Maybe give you some ideas to think about using that brood, a frame brood, to help anchor those bees, keeping the bees in a clip or a cage for a little while inside the box so the bees aren't prone to swarm away without her. And I will emphasize that if you catch a swarm this late in the season, we are past our main nectar flow and pretty much in our dearth period now. We do typically have a smaller nectar flow in the fall, but you can never guarantee how that's going to go. Even if you don't typically feed your swarms early in the season, it's almost critical to feed late season swarms like this in order to give them a chance to survive over winter. At this point in the video, I usually thank my Patreon members, those who have supported me through Patreon. But I want to make a quick announcement that I'm no longer going to be promoting Patreon. Nothing against Patreon, it just hasn't worked out well for my purposes. And instead, I'm now offering memberships on my YouTube channel. And if you sign up as a member, you would have been able to watch this video earlier than anyone else, and you'll get early access to all my future videos. I'm also looking at options for increased access for members for asking questions or getting involved in conversations. I do want to thank all these people who have supported me through Patreon. I really appreciate the encouragement that you've given. And I want to thank in advance all those who will sign up as YouTube members. And if you found this video interesting, I encourage you to check out this video that YouTube has selected especially for you. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.